Before we get started on this, I wanted to let you know that a friend of mine just opened up a new breakfast restaurant.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, he called it Friends with Benedicts.
Oh, that would be the way to go.
Right.
You can't miss that opportunity.
Right. And then there's a new place in Salem, and this is true. It's a noodle house that is only delivery, and it's called Send Nudes. Noods.
Oh, Salem.
I know. Salem, Oregon. What are you going to do?
Oh, my cow. You know, I showed my neighbor all my tools and things in my garage, and I pointed at a short ladder, and I told him, that's my real ladder. I never knew my step ladder.
Building on last week's jokes. Okay, yeah, I see how you are. All right, let's roll the opening music, shall we?
Bop. I mean, yes.
This is Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn, an Injured Nerves audio production. Well, Moobarkfluff, hello, aloha, and in honor of Rain's return from Sweden, Sayonara, which is Swedish for good day.
Oh, I did not know that.
There you go. I am Barely Normal, and welcome to our little corner of the interwebs. And since you found yourself here, let me introduce you to my co-host, the fantabulously wonderful Taebyn. How the fluff are you, Taebyn?
Well, I guess I'm fantabulously wonderful, and thanks for asking. And why? Why, I ask you, why am I now an announcer for a box of rice-a-roni, the San Francisco treat? I don't know, and that's not all. You also made yourself look like a jerk in front. Anyway, hi.
Yes, hi.
No, I'm great. I'm really good. I've been doing this stuff. It's been really beautiful weather and everything, and I'm excited to be on the show with you again, Mr. Barely, and welcome to all our listeners out there. We hope you're still listening, and we hope you continue listening to the entire show. Wouldn't that be great?
Yeah, 2 mintes in, and they've already said, nope, we're done.
No,
that's it.
done.
We're done. Out. We're out.
Stepladder, Taebyn, don't you know how the joke really goes?
That's right. Joke, Taebyn, joke. Anywho, do you have any other words before we get to the past today?
I do not.
We're gonna jump right into the past today. So I listened. I know. I listened to the Renegade Roo episode.
Oh yeah.
On my motorcycle ride, I went to Seaside a couple of weekends ago, and on the way home, I said, "Well, I got a 2-hour ride, and that's a 2-hour episode. So guess what? I'm gonna go ahead and listen to this episode."
Never would have guessed.
I was a little amazed at how many bad puns you and Renegade came up with, and how many of them were repeats from various episodes throughout the year.
Yes, I mean, there were a bunch that I could not resist. Like, I know all of our listeners have already heard it. Well, maybe not because reasons, but
reasons, yes.
I couldn't.
Pieces, yes.
Reasons pieces, but I couldn't help it. Anyway, yeah, it was good times. There was a lot of So, all you first shout out to our very own Renegade Roo. Who was my co-host, because Barely was out of town, as he just said.
Several weeks ago, yes.
Episodes ago. So
yes.
Go ahead and check that out. Listen to our very own Renegade talk about things and how his life's going for him and all that stuff.
All that stuff. All right. So you, what do you have for the past today? Anything? Have you listened to any past episodes that you want to bring up something?
I haven't. I have this list of episodes I need to listen to, but I haven't. What? I don't know. But I do have a past today. Last time we talked about upcoming fur bowls. I mean, upcoming events too, but in particular some fur bowls. And I meant to say, and I forgot to, that in trying to find upcoming fur bowls, I found, it came up in the Googler, a 90s death metal band from Sweden called Fur Bowl.
Really?
And I thought that was really interesting and in fact, if you Google Fur Bowl, you get a lot of this Fur Bowl death metal band. So
wow. Did you listen to any of their music?
I did. And if you like death metal, it's for you. If you don't like death metal, well, don't listen to it.
Well, it's kind of like you. It's like country music. If you like country music, listen to it. If you don't, then don't. I mean,
get out of the country.
Yeah, get out of the country. Go to a different country.
What are you doing?
What are you doing on that country? All right. So you had told me earlier today via text message that you wanted to do math before we got into anything serious. Well, because you had said it's going to take some thinky parts, which means my little the wrinkly parts of my brain have to be activated in order to thinky. So
well, as you know, but for all our listeners, believe it or not, it's a lot of work to just record all this, and you have to pay attention and do a lot of thinking. And so by the end of the show, we're both it's hard to think.
Kind of mellowed out. Yeah, it's like, especially with the podcast fluid that we drink throughout the episode. So by the time we get to the end,
I mean, I drink so much water. I have to go. This little puppy has to go to the bathroom and stuff, and it's hard to keep sitting still. Anyway, so because of all that, I thought it might be useful if we do the thinky think earlier this time.
Well, that's fine. Well, okay, before you get to that, I want to address the conundrum of how a square equals a circle.
I don't remember this conundrum.
Well, I know because I found this conundrum.
Oh, it is a conundrum. It's not.
It's a conundrum.
I saw that note in the and I thought it was something that I talked about before, but it's not. It's a new thing.
No. So a square has 4 90-degree angles, or four, right? Which then makes the square 360 degrees.
Right.
And a circle is 360 degrees. So therefore, square equals circle.
Square equals circle.
It's very simple.
It is very simple. New math found by the barely.
Right. Yeah. I mean, how can a square work a circle? Well, they both have 360 degrees.
They both have three. I mean, it's right there. It is so right there. Oh, you're
it's
so
so
smart.
Simple and so obvious. So now, what is your math that's going to take some thinky parts?
It'll take a lot less thinky than what you just said, because what you just said is mind blown. Well,
okay.
No, actually, so so let me preface this by saying this is more of a puzzle type riddle. It's not really a riddle. It's called the Prisoner's Riddle, actually. And I don't know if it's really a riddle. It's more of a puzzle. So for any furs that like puzzles, you might be interested in this. So I want to tell you what the thing is, and then I'll tell you the solution. So this tiny bit of history, this puzzle was first proposed by the computer scientist by the name of Peter Bro Milterson.
Hey, bro.
It's actually Bro. It is. Hey, bro. It's actually Bro Milterson. Anyway, back in 2003. Bro! That's not part of the puzzle.
It's not? Okay. All right.
It is actually part of the puzzle of why is Taebyn so cray?
Z.
But anyway, Z. In Mr. Milterson's original paper that he published this puzzle in, he actually wrote that. So he actually didn't figure out the solution. It's a colleague of his that pointed out the solution or the avenue to the solution, whatever. And in the original paper that Milterson published about it, he wrote at the end, the solution is left as an exercise for the reader. So that's kind of cute.
Oh, well, that's cute. Yes.
That's cute.
In other words, I don't know the solution, so you guys figure it out.
So you figure it out, and I mean, no, really, I know the solution. Anyway.
Yes. Like all good math teachers, you put it on the board and you say, please come up with the solution. And you sit at your desk and you go, I don't know the answer, but they're going to figure it out for me.
That's what, and okay, you say that, and I have to do a side note that's actually a really interesting piece of math trivia.
Yes.
So there is a math like genius pretty much by the name of Terence Tao. Okay. And he's like this really, there's a branch of math called differential geometry, and he's like this really famous mathematician, really smart, all that good stuff. Mm-hmm. So the true story goes, in one of his graduate class, I mean, this was a long time ago, he's older now. In one of his graduate classes, differential geometry class, he was late for class one day. And so he came in 5 minutes late, whatever. And there were, I think, 5 math problems on the side of the board. And so he figured, okay, well, that's next week's homework assignment. So he wrote it down. And that was that. So he worked on these problems hardcore. He even missed classes and everything because of it, because he was working on them and he had to solve them. In the end, he only solved like 3 of the 5. And he came like I don't know, something like a month later and told his professor, sorry, I've missed all this class. I could only solve 3 of the 5 homework problems you posted on the board. And it turns out that those 5 problems were 5 of the top unsolved differential geometry problems at that time.
Wow.
Like, he only solved 3 of them. Oh,
only
well.
3.
As a graduate student.
Jeez. Well, good for him.
Oh, I know. It's actually quite amazing what some people can do. Anyway, back to, I'm actually glad you said that because I thought that's a really interesting piece of like math history.
Yes.
But so the prisoner's riddle, here's how it goes.
Okay.
So you've got 100 prisoners and they're
Right.
all on death row. Okay.
Okay.
And they all have numbers 1 to 100. Okay.
Okay.
On their little jackets, whatever.
Yes.
Now there's a room that has 100 boxes.
Okay.
In each one of the 100 boxes, the warden, well, let me tell you. So the warden is, well, okay. No, first let me tell you about the slips of paper.
Okay.
So in each one of the 100 boxes, the warden takes 100 pieces of paper, numbered 1 to 100, and puts 1 randomly in each of the boxes. So now you've got in a room 100 boxes with 1 piece of paper in each box, and all of them have the numbers 1 to 100 on them, and it's all random.
Okay. Gotcha.
I was trying to explain that. I hope I got that through. So each prisoner, one by one, can enter the room, and I'll tell you why they're doing this in a second.
Okay.
Each prisoner, one by one, can enter the room and pick 50 boxes, check 50 of the boxes, and they're looking for their number on a slip of paper.
Okay.
If they find it, if every one of and they do this one at a time, if every one of the 100 prisoners can find their number within their allotted 50 tries, the warden has said, you're all free to go. So that's great. But if even one prisoner in their 50 chances does not find their number, all are executed.
Okay.
High stakes. Okay.
Yes, very high stakes.
So this is like when the cows in the trees, it's high stakes.
That's a high stakes, yes. But you can't see them in the tree because they're
very good
hide.
Yep.
They're very good at hiding, yes. Throwback. Way back.
Way back. So that's the setup. And we want to know the best strategy. Now, the prisoners can, before the very first prisoner can go in, all the prisoners can communicate and try and figure out their strategy together. But once the first prisoner goes in and comes out, they can't talk to each other anymore. And when the prisoner leaves, the boxes all have to be in the same places, lids on the boxes, all that.
Okay.
So it looks the same to every prisoner.
Okay.
So the question is, what's the best strategy? Now, the solution is not, just everyone goes in and pick 50 random boxes and hope for the best. Because, so if you think about it, there's 100 boxes, and if for one prisoner that goes in, and if he just chooses those 50 boxes at random, the probability that he will find his number is
1 in 100.
Well, but he gets 50
1 in
chances.
50. So 1 in 50. So 50-50. He's got a 50-50 shot.
He's got a 50% chance. Right. So the probability is 1/2. Exactly.
Okay.
So if every one of those 100 prisoners do that, that's 1/2 times itself 100 times, or 1/2 to the 100th power.
Okay.
Now, what that is, let me tell you.
Okay, please tell me. Yes.
1/2 to the 100th power is 0.30 zeros and an 8.
Okay.
So that's a very small probability.
Yes.
Now, to put that into perspective, and by the way, if you go back to Barely, and if all you listeners go back to listen to a few episodes ago on math, I talked about astronomical numbers, like really, really big numbers, and even a thing called a parsec, which you might remember from Star Trek talks about that. So really big numbers and stuff. It's hard to wrap your mind around really big and really small numbers. So to put this number into perspective, this 0.30 zeros and an 8, take two people, they have a better chance at choosing the same grain of sand in the entire world at random than this.
Okay.
So that's a pretty low. It's like the prisoners, they have no chance, right? it turns out that the correct strategy improves their chances up to 31%.
Okay.
That's almost a third. Now, to
Okay.
put in perspective how big of a gain that is, so that's a 30 orders of magnitude. What that means is take a millimeter and scale it to the size of the universe. That's
Okay.
how big of an increase in chances this
Okay.
is. That's amazing.
Right.
So I want to tell you the solution. Any further wants to think about and try on their own, pause now, and then come back and I'll tell you the solution. Are you ready?
We are ready. Everybody's back.
Okay.
Thank you for pausing and coming back and not doing something else.
Like not coming back, for example.
Right. For example, for like not coming back.
Okay, so what you do is you label the boxes 1 to 100. Okay, that makes sense.
Would you label the boxes 1 to 100, or you just put numbers in the boxes?
Well, the numbers are in the box, but just in order to reference the boxes, just write the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And so each box, you're not going to put the number on the box that's in the
paper.
In the paper. We still don't know what the paper, what's in the box.
Okay.
But yeah, so just for reference, label them 1 to 100.
It's Schrodinger's paper.
I was just thinking the same thing, actually. You don't know what's in it until you open it.
You open it. That's right. It's not there until you open it. Yes.
I was just thinking the same thing. It's funny. Okay. Anyway, so here's what each prisoner does. You go in and find the box labeled with your number.
Okay.
Now, most likely, what's in the box is not your number.
Right.
But you go to that box. You look in the box and see what that number is on the paper.
Okay.
Whatever that number is, now go to that box.
That box. Okay.
Right? You're seeing already.
I've seen the pattern. Right.
And then open the box. Go to that one.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Cool. No. Awesome. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
Because once you get that idea, it's actually kind of follows from there, because I mean that's the strategy, and this is the strategy that brings it up to a 31% win rate.
Okay.
Which is okay. Great.
All right. Yeah.
Neat. Now, the interesting thing for furs that are into puzzles is, well, wait, why? Why does that bring you up from almost 0% to 31%? How does that even, like, okay, it makes sense that it would make it better because now you've got a strategy, everyone's doing this thing, but why? And why 31%? Right. So I want to talk a little bit about that. Now, the thing to note is that if you find your number, then you're going through this thing and you open up a box and if it's your number, if you were to go to what it tells you to go to, you'd be going to the first box you picked, right? Because you found your number. What's the first box you picked? It's the one that has your number on it.
Okay, right.
So each prisoner has a loop.
Yes.
Maybe it's 1 box, 3 boxes, 50. It could be 100 boxes, but you've got.
Well, it's only 50 because they only get to choose 50.
Well, but there exists up to
100
a loop
chances.
of 100. Yes, exactly.
Okay.
But that's an important point that you just said, is that each prisoner's loop can be no more than 50.
50. Yes.
If they're going to make it out. Right. No, good loop. I mean, good point.
Good loop. Good pointy loop.
Good pointy loop. So you've got all these kind of loops that are formed inside.
I'm a little loopy right now.
You are a little loopy.
Yes.
Wherever you start, you are starting at the furthest point in the loop from the box that has your number.
Okay.
Because, and I want to say this out loud to myself because I had to think a little bit about why that is, but because in order to, you started with the box that has your number. Yes. And then if you eventually find your number,
right,
that means that, I mean, the next box would be that one with your number.
You
so
started,
in the loop, you're the furthest from where you started.
Okay. I see that, yes.
Good. You got that much faster than I did. That's good. So if you're going to find your number, you have to follow the loop all the way to the very end. Now, going back to what you had noted, if the longest loop has size 51, for example, then, well, that prisoner that's in that loop didn't make it. But
Mm-hmm.
every number in that loop, in the boxes, don't make it either. So that's 51 people that are in the loop that don't make it.
Okay.
So,
but the puzzle was that even if one person didn't find their number, then everybody's executed.
Right. So we're thinking in terms of what are all the people that don't make it work, that don't succeed, and then the answer will be the kind of complement of that. The how many didn't make it? Well, the others have to have. So the probability that all the prisoners find their number is the same as the probability that no loop is longer than 50.
That makes sense, actually.
Yay! Because then all we need is the probability to calculate the probability that no loop is longer than 50. And I won't bore everyone with that. That actually comes down to kind of quote unquote basic probability and counting. There's no like big, huge machinery. It's just kind of, you think the normal way of probability problems go. And that number turns out to be 31%.
All right.
And that's how it works. And I think it's very interesting that the solution, it's a simply stated problem.
Yes.
The solution turns out to be actually not, it's not too hard to follow along. It's like, okay, I can see that. But it turned out to be a very difficult problem. So, and the solution is actually pretty interesting. It turns out that if you remember, I talked about the Monty Hall problem.
Yes.
So if you know the Monty Hall problem, the one with the 3 doors and everything, I talked about that in the math section in season 1, episode 24. So way back there.
Wow.
I went and found it.
Wow, good for you.
So any further that wants to hear me talk about that and its solution, go back to listen to that episode. But the Monty Hall problem turns out to be an actual simpler scaled way down version of this prisoner's thing. There's lots of fun variants. You can go to Wikipedia and it lists lots of other variants to this. So that is my what I think very interesting math for the week.
I wonder if anybody has actually done this. I mean, I wonder if they've actually
like acted
done
it out or something.
Acted it out and see what happens.
And try. They could. Yeah, that's actually interesting. I don't know, because then they could. They could have a tally person that like adds them up and tries to calculate probabilities and everything. Because once you actually do it, it's like you just divide numbers, so it wouldn't be that hard to actually.
Well, we need to find some college math professor somewhere and have him do it with all of his students and report back to how it actually worked out.
That's the next thing to do.
I wonder what would happen. It's like, okay, so you're prisoner number 1 and you don't find your number. It's like, all right, well, no, I've just killed 99 other people besides me.
I hope it's fast, because I'm going to be feeling guilty for quite a long time.
Right? Yeah. You get to be the last one executed. You get to watch all the rest of them because you didn't make it. Neener. Oh, my cow.
Lots of fun. For lack of better words, lots of fun ways to go with it.
I'm glad you did that first, because it can be that could be a little rougher on my brain later in the episode. So that was your math for the week. And now we're going to get to That's Just Stupid.
Are you stupid or something?
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
Unlike the math that I just did.
Which was very smart.
We'll
yes.
Go with that. Yes.
Yes, right. So, okay, so That's Just Stupid. So first of all, I want to talk about 2 observations from my personal life in the That's Just Stupid category. So the first one, I'm going to say that sealing isn't really necessary. Now, I noticed sealing as in like sealing a box or
not like the ceiling, but
it's not like the
box.
ceiling.
Okay.
Yes, like, or not like sea lions, which are or those kind of seals. No, those are different.
And if you're a D lion, you go and instead of or.
That's oh wow, that was pretty good actually. It's like so I've noticed that there are a lot of things that mean well but aren't really doing well. So for example, I use Instacart for a lot of things, especially from Costco, now that the Costco store has moved 10 miles away from its old location, and it's a major trip to go to Costco. I don't go there much anymore. But I use Instacart, and they're at Costco, and they can send me my stuff. So the other day, I made an order, and I got a box of Tide Pods. I know, Tide Pods, don't eat them. but I use them for my laundry.
Flashback to furry community like 5 years ago.
Right. So I put the box in the laundry room, and today I went to do laundry, and I noticed that it was taped shut across the top.
Okay.
And I was like, okay, so I mean, most tape on a box you can peel off relatively easily, or poke it with your finger and open it up, right? No, this was like super strong packing tape that you could not open up with anything. I was like, and I was like, blah, blah, blah. So I flipped it over, and the bottom flaps did not have tape on it.
Oh, yeah.
And they were like tacked with just a little bit of glue on the corners. So I lightly pulled it open, and it came right open.
And it came right open.
And
wow,
I'm thinking,
that was,
okay, so
did a good
why
sealing job?
why do all that trouble to seal with the top, to keep people safe, and the bottom is just like, oh, we just open this up and take it out. It's like, what? No, maybe
That's
seal the
just
whole
stupid.
thing. That's just stupid. Okay, now here's the other thing that's really stupid. I bought a bag of Malt-O-Meal cereal. Now,
Was that the stupid part?
That was the stupid part. I mean, I like late at night after I take a couple of gummies and I get the munchies when I'm watching TV. I want to have a bowl of cereal, so I buy cereal and I buy Malt-O-Meal because it's cheap and it's easy to use. So I got the family bag, and in the show notes you see a picture of the Malt-O-Meal bag.
Oh yeah.
And so I was like, okay, so I'm going to open it up, and there's a Ziploc seal on the bag. Now it's not on the top of the bag. It's 1/3 down the length of the bag,
Okay.
in the center of the bag, and only 2/3 the way across. So when you open it up,
So it's
you have like 3 inches of bag above it and 2 inches of bag on either side.
Other side, okay.
Okay. Now when you try and pour the cereal out, the bag is in the way.
Yeah.
And you can't see the bowl. And the first time I tried to pour it, I got cereal all over the table. And I'm like, well, that's just stupid. That is just dumb. Maybe put it closer to the top or at the edge. I don't know.
Like everyone
It's like-
else has done in the history of the universe.
Right? It's like, why would you put the Ziploc opening in this? What do you think? I'm going to, eat it with a spoon out of the bag? I don't understand. Or put a scoop in there? I don't know. And it's not even big enough to put a scoop in. It's just like, it's big enough to. It's like, that was the stupidest thing in the world. Anyway.
Okay, that's fun. Fun time.
Now, from the That's Just Stupid library, leave it to the Brits. They perhaps were taking a lesson from our own Salt and Straw ice creamery in Portland, Oregon. You might have heard of Salt and Straw. Have you heard of Salt and Straw?
I have not heard of Salt and Straw, although I know that when I'm really mad at it, I will assault it because it's the straw that broke the camel's back.
You almost said chicken's back. You almost said chicken's back. I heard you. Yes. It's
Oh,
like,
well,
you
I'm
almost
glad
said
I
chicken.
saved myself at the last.
Yes, and said the camel's.
second.
Yes.
Why would
So-
you break this? That would be just stupid. Break the chicken's back.
Well, we're in the Just Stupid lab. Anyway, so a Salt and Straw ice creamery in Portland has unique flavors like cream corn, and one was called grass. It tasted like grass.
Okay.
And it's like, it's like, so, but the Brits have taken it to the next level. They have a specialty shop that's selling ice cream in the flavors of, well, let's just say things in your cupboard. They're serving flavors such as ketchup, baked beans, hot sauce, mayonnaise, porridge, and mustard.
Oh,
Now,
my.
decidedly, ketchup is their most popular flavor because they sold out of a 6-week supply in 4 days.
What?
Yes.
That's just stupid.
That's just stupid.
Although it does remind me of the candy canes.
Those candy canes, yes, exactly. The candy canes. Go back to our Christmas episode where we were at, A&W. And we had people taste those. Yes, right. So, I don't know that I would try ketchup flavored ice cream, but I did try the grass flavored ice cream at Salt and Straw, so maybe I would. Who knows? Now, this person may be out of his gourd. A man in a pumpkin boat paddled 38 miles down the Mississippi River in an attempt to beat a world record. Now, I don't know where these world records are coming from.
I know, right?
Floating in a gourd, a Nebraska resident, Dwayne Hansen, celebrated his 60th birthday by paddling a hollowed-out 846-pound pumpkin.
What? Wow.
Down the Mississippi River. According to CNN, he hoped to beat the previous record for longest journey by pumpkin, and he asked officials from the city of Bellevue, Missouri, to witness the endeavor. The first Guinness World Book of Records, or the first Guinness World Record for this act, was set with a 15-mile trek in Washington. According to the organization, Rick Swenson beat this in a gourd of his own with a 25-mile ride down the Red River in 2016, which Hansen aimed to trounce. Hansen thus endeavored to paddle his pumpkin for 38 miles from Bellevue's public boat docks to Nebraska City. And according to the Facebook post by the city of Bellevue, Hansen left at around 7:30 and arrived after 6:30 p.m. With a passion for gardening, this inspired him to do so. I wonder if he celebrated with a pumpkin spice latte afterwards.
I would bet he would be just done with pumpkins, so probably not.
I don't know. They said that he broke the record at about 2 in the afternoon, but he just kept going. So, there you go. So,
I love my pumpkin.
I guess. And that's my news of the stupid.
That is, I agree.
Yes.
Stupid is, stupid does, sir.
So speaking of stupid, I have some.
Yes.
Blop. I have some things to say,
Okay,
and they're all
let
stupid.
me hear them. Let me hear your
Okay.
stupid things. All right.
Okay. So first of all,
Yes.
this is something. Oh well, yeah. This actually works out perfect. I didn't realize because you talked about things in your life that are just stupid.
Yes.
I have. My first thing is something that happened in my life the other day that's just stupid that I did that was stupid.
Oh.
Okay. So
What did you do that was stupid?
well, so this was in a Telegram chat.
Okay.
And it's in a volleyball, not a volleyball chat, but a volunteer chat for A&W actually. So Mad Dog, you know Mad Dog, and so he's in there of course, and some fur was asking something about volunteering or something, and Mad Dog said, "Well, right now the volunteer coordinator is out of action, but I'll pass along your information to him."
Okay.
Okay, great. And so I said, "It's not being auctioned anymore. Did some fur buy it?" And Mad Dog said, "What?"
Of course.
Which
Out
is
of auction, not action. Yes.
and so I said, "'Cause it was in the auction." And Mad Dog said, "What was in the auction?" And I said, "Oh, lol, I'm stupid, pup," because I realized what was going on. And Mad Dog said, "I mean, okay, but I need to know why." And of course I said, "Well, I read the original message as your volunteer application is out of auction, but you really said the volunteer coordinator is out of action, and so I'm stupid." So
Okay.
I did that. So
Okay.
my next thing I have to say,
Yes. Has to do with a sip from the puppy bowl and then
a large bowl of Minnesota. No, it has to do with
a fur bowl.
a church.
A church.
And more than that, so I could say that this was something that came up in the news and that's why it's stupid, but no, it didn't. So I'll just
Okay.
say,
Yes.
a church had a handyman for many years and he recently passed away. He did so many jobs at the church, had to break them all up and give one to different people to do all the many, many jobs that he did.
Yes.
So they put it out an ad in the paper and stuff. And after a day or two, someone came to the door. The priest opened the door, and there was a young man standing there saying that he would like to be the church bell ringer. And the priest said, "Well, do you have any experience?" And I have to say, yeah, I have a bunch of experience ringing church bells. That's my family's tradition. No. So anyway, the guy said, "No, I don't have any experience, but I'm a quick learner." So the priest says, "Okay, well, I'll give you a chance." So he leads him up the stairs, up to the big bell tower, up to the bell up there. And he turns around to talk to the guy, and he turns around just in time to see the guy stumble down the stairs and go head first into the bell. And then he fell all the way down the shaft. And the priest, of course, ran down the stairs to check up on the guy, but he was too late. So the priest called the ambulance and the police and everything, and they showed up, and the police are filling out the information forms and everything, and they're like, "Well, what was the young man's name?" And the priest is shocked to realize that through their entire conversation, he didn't once ask the poor guy's name. So he said to the officer, "Well, I never asked him his name, but his face sure rings a bell."
Uh-huh.
But that's not it. There's more.
I know there's more.
Do you want to tell the rest of this?
Well, no, you're doing so well. You go ahead.
I don't know if... Oh, I feel worthless now. But I'll try to redeem myself.
Okay.
So, there's more!
Yeah, I know there's more. Go for it.
So
Yes,
the church
yes.
replaces the ad in the paper, and there comes a knock at the door. Of course, the priest opens the door, and almost faints because there's another guy it's the same guy. It's like, what's he doing alive and everything? And well, the guy says, "No, I'm sorry to surprise you, but that was just his twin brother." And
Yes.
I'm actually here for the bell ringer position too. And of course, the priest says, "Well, do you have an experience?" And the guy says, "No, I don't, but I'm a quick learner." So he says, "Okay, I'll try it." So they go up the stairs and go all the way up the big stairs and everything. And the priest turns around, and lo and behold, of course, you know what happened. He would turn around just in time to see the poor guy fall down the stairs and go plant head first into the bell. I guess like brother,
Yes.
apparently.
Yeah.
Fell all the way down the shaft. The priest runs down to see if he's okay, and he's not. It's, of course, too late. Duh, we saw that coming. And so he calls the police and the ambulance and all that stuff, and they show up, and the police are writing up the report and everything. And he says to the priest, "What was the poor guy's name?" And he says, "Oh, wow, I didn't even get his name either. What is even wrong with me?" So he says to the policeman, "Well, I'm sorry, I didn't get his name, but he's a dead ringer for his brother." And that
is the end of the story. Thank you very much.
But I would like to say, I would love to hear your hubby try and tell that one.
Oh, I don't think he could.
I
don't think
he'd probably
he could.
And then the priest opened the door, and then there was a frog, and it's Patty Whack Bone.
Yeah. Mhm. Yes. I don't know his name, but he ringed for his brother. I don't know.
Oh my cow!
He rang for his. What was that? He rang for his pipe, and he rang for his bowl, and he rang for his fiddler's three. That was a nursery rhyme.
Oh,
Old King Cole was a merry old soul, and a merry old soul was he. He rang for his pipe, and he rang for his bowl, and he rang for his fiddler's three. There you go.
There I go. I don't know if I wanted
There
it,
you
but
go.
there we go.
There you go. An old nursery rhyme. Yes.
So I have one more thing.
Oh, please.
Oh, actually, I have two more things.
Please, twice.
The next thing, and I don't remember. So there was an episode where I told 3 airhead jokes, and I don't know if you were there. You weren't there for that. I don't know if you.
I don't think I was there for that one. All right.
Anyway, I told 3 airhead jokes, and I had to call them airhead jokes because if I call them the real thing, it's non-PC. But the third one ended up being the non-PC version.
Okay.
Anyway, how that relates to now is I want to tell an airhead joke, but the non-PC version, because it doesn't work unless you tell the non-PC version. So here we go.
All right.
And I know you've already heard this too. So, a blonde walked into an electronics store and says to the salesman, "I want that TV." The salesperson shook his head and said, "No, we don't sell to blondes." So the blonde left and came back with her hair dyed brown and said, "I'll take that TV." And the salesperson said, Nope, sorry, we don't sell to blondes." So she left again and came back with her hair dyed black and said, "I'll take that TV." And the salesperson said, "Nope, we don't sell to blondes. Nothing's changed." Finally, the blonde just got fed up with this and said, "Okay, that's it. How did you know I'm a blonde?" she asked. Salesperson said, "Well, that's a microwave." So... yeah, that. You like that?
Oh, wow.
Was that a fun journey?
That was fun.
Okay. So the last thing I have to say, which is not as fun as that.
Okay.
It's a very stupid joke that I made up the other day. And
these are always troublesome.
It is. I mean, and this is probably out there somewhere, but I haven't heard before, so I'll say, I made this one up.
Okay.
It doesn't exist.
All right.
So, at like apartment complexes and hotels and stuff, you need people to do the maintenance, to clean it up and everything. And it turns out that maintenance are actually the important people in the apartment complex because they're the main tenants.
Oh.
I did that. I'm sorry, all you furs. I did that. I should not admit. Okay. Okay, I'm done with all that.
With that, let's get to media, shall we?
Let's do that.
I hear music. All right. Well, so on media, I've been watching the new House of Dragon, the new sequel or prequel to Game of Thrones.
Awesome. How's that going?
It's actually very, very good. I must say. It's not as violent as the first one, which I thought was kind of strange. I think they toned it down a little bit. I'm not sure whether it's just they're trying to be PC or something, but
or maybe since it's the prequel, they didn't know how to fight yet.
Oh no, they know how to fight. I mean, there's violence. There's violence in it, but it's just not all the time. In the original, there seemed like violence all the time. So there you go.
Okay. And how far are you into it?
Well, they've only released 3 episodes, and so I've only watched 3 episodes because they release it every Sunday, and I watch it every Monday. So
if they put a slip of paper into each episode,
yes,
and you could choose 3 boxes to look for the paper, what's the probability you would turn out alive?
Well, 1/3.
100%, because there's only 3, and
there's only 3 if I get 50 choices. So yeah, I'd be okay. It's like there's 3 boxes, I get 50 choices. Well, okay, there we go. Anyway,
nice.
So at night when I'm going to bed, I watch mindless television. I try to watch mindless television. So I was watching Modern Family, and of course I got to the end. I'm like, oh no, what do I watch now? And so I Googled 80s and 90s sitcoms to try and watch some stuff.
Oh, nice.
And I couldn't find something that was like, yeah. And I was like, I can watch that again. But then like Netflix and Hulu and Peacock, they only have like 1 season of it. It's like, well, I know that show had more than 1 season, but I found that 70s show and I started watching that again, which is Ashton Kutcher and Topher Gray or whatever his name is. And
his toes were gray apparently.
That's right. And Valderrama, all that kind of stuff. So the interesting thing about that show is there's a lot of history to that show. So the gal that plays Jackie, which is the rich gal, okay, when she auditioned for that show and was given the part, she told them that she was 17. She was actually only 13 when she started that show.
Really?
Yes.
Interesting.
So she was only 13 when she started doing that show.
Child labor at its best.
All right, Valderrama, who plays the kid that's the exchange student, never spoke a lick of English until he saw the part was coming up, and he's from Venezuela or somewhere like that. He started to learn English so he could audition for the part.
Oh.
And he got the part. And so
Not bad.
lot of the things that he says on that show that he doesn't quote unquote understand is because he didn't understand the language.
He actually didn't understand it.
Yes, it was really kind of funny. And of course, he's gone on to be quite the good actor, as has Ashton Kutcher. Topher, what's his name, really hasn't. But anyway, it's a really funny show, and it's even funny 20 years later after they made it. I mean, they made it
time type thing. Not everything. We've talked about this. Not everything does.
Not everything. Well, I mean, they tried to make a show called That 80s Show. That didn't work. That 90s show. That didn't work. So there's something about the 70s and that whole thing that worked just well. Yeah. So I'm caught up on the Orville New Horizons, which now is getting rave reviews. As being
put in the rave music right there.
As being better than Star Trek.
Whoa!
Yeah, even though it started out as a comedy, it has gotten, we've talked about this before, it's gotten more and more serious, and many of the critics and pundits are saying that they have really hit their mark and that they are even better than Star Trek, which is kind of interesting.
I will have to check. I mean, I know I've said that I'll check it out, but I haven't got around to check it out yet. So definitely, put it.
And they really hit their stride when they left Fox with a limited budget and went to Hulu where they have unlimited budget.
That's right. You talked about. I remember
it's
that.
Just,
yeah.
It's like wow. So, and I watched a few more episodes of Sandman. I forget what network that's at, and then I've caught up on Archer, which is
that's what they
FX comic. Yeah, so
They came out with a new season of that recently, didn't they?
yes, they did.
Yeah.
Yep.
Nice.
So
Very good. Very good.
So, and that's what I've been watching. I haven't been reading anything. Looking around. Nope, haven't read anything. So
Okay.
there we go.
So
And how about you?
So if you did any painting, we know there's no red houses around there,
There's no red houses because red paint smells like blue paint.
and you didn't read anything.
I didn't read. No.
What have I been watching? Oh, ask me what I've been watching, or did you?
What have you been watching, Taebyn?
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Season 2 of Samurai Rabbit came out actually just like a week ago.
Oh, I haven't even finished season
Already?
1.
Yeah, so I finished season 1, of course, a little while ago, and I thought it would be a long while before they came out with season 2, but then it said, hey, new season. It's like, okay, so I started watching that. I'm really liking this show. Bunny is still arrogant, oh my cow, but...
I know, you hate bunnies. Bunny's arrogance just drives you crazy.
It does. Besides that, he's wonderful and I love him, but that's unfortunately all he is arrogant. So, but it's really cute. The episode I watched this today for lunchies was really cute and fun. So I'm still liking that. I mean, I'm only on like episode 2 or something. So we watched a few movies. Well, let's see. We're rewatching season 2 of Big Bang Theory. I mean, we've talked about this before. We've seen all the, was it 9 seasons or something, but we started rewatching it and it's so good. I mean, this is so good.
Oh, I could have watched that. I could have started that again. I didn't think about that one.
Yeah, it's really worth a rewatch. It's so good. So funny. Oh my cow. And then some movies we watched.
Movies.
Okay. So we also, I think we've talked about Lock and Key on the show before.
Yes, we have. Mm-hmm.
And season 3 came out, so we started watching season 3. It's still really good. In I think the second or third episode of the season, there's a gay wedding. It's really cool. And it's not like just a side pocket of, there's a gay wedding. It's like there's a family member and there's a gay wedding and they show it and they do it. And it's like, it's not horrible to be gay. It's like everyone's just so supportive in it. And I always love seeing shows and movies, not cheesy gay movies, because there's a lot of cheesy gay movies, but like a quote unquote straight movie that has like really supportive gay themes in it and stuff. So that was actually really cool to see. So, okay, so movies. So we watched this movie called Chaos Walking. I don't suppose you've heard of this movie.
Have not. No.
It's I think it's 2015. I forget when it's from, but it has Tom Holland, the newest Spider-Man. So maybe it must be newer than 2015. But it's Tom Holland, the newest Spider-Man in it. It's okay. It's got an interesting storyline. They're on a planet where there's really only males, and all the males can see every other male's thoughts and everything. So like there's no secrets. It's like you have to work really hard to like not let anyone else know what you're thinking. So but I mean, that leads into intrigue and kind of fun and everything. And like, well, where are all the women? And it turns out that, well, I won't tell you about that because I want to give a reason for first to watch it. But so they do that. It's an okay movie. It wasn't horrible.
Yeah.
But it wasn't the best ever. But there's that. So 2 other movies we saw. One's called Drown. It's a gay movie, and it's by Strand Releasing. So you might remember me talking about TLA Releasing, that production company.
I don't.
Well, you might remember me talking about it by saying all their movies are pretty much hit or miss, and usually miss.
Oh yes. Okay, yeah. Yes. Uh-huh.
And they're all gay themed, which is great. So they're really working for it. But and you might not remember me saying this, but one of their movies I talked about on the show once has a Mr. Bobblehead he's talking to his like husband, and he's trying to be supportive and understanding. So he's bobbing his head all over, and it's really stupid. And anyway, so they have really bad movies. Like some of these movies are so bad. Now, so this is Strand Releasing. They're another gay kind of company. And I think Strand Releasing is the baby brother of TLA, who is trying to learn from TLA. Now, that's not a good idea.
Okay.
So this movie, Drown, is not a good movie.
Okay.
I that's really all I can say about it. I think someone drowns in it. We only watch half the movie. They talk about someone drowning, but that person doesn't have anything to do with the storyline. They're just like they're swimming around or something.
Ah.
And it's like one of the main characters is a homosexual that is all in the closet, and it's just kind of cringy from that. I mean, it's just a really bad movie.
Okay.
Now, so another movie we watched. Have you seen the movie Dune from 2021?
Oh, yes.
I think
Maybe.
everyone has.
Actually, I've seen it like 6 or 7 times.
So you like this movie? I'm taking it.
I do. I like the story. I've
A
read
lot
the
of-
books.
A lot of the books are just like amazing. Like they're historic and everything. Everyone loves the books. And this movie it has like on Netflix whatever it is 4.5 stars out of 4,000 reviews
Right.
or something. It's like just so popular and amazing. So we watched it. So it's 2.5 hours long,
Yes.
and it's the worst movie ever. Both me and my honey think it's just so amazingly slow, so amazingly boring, and we both think it's horrible.
Did you watch the director's cut?
No, we watched the actual normal movie.
Huh. Because
And
the director's cut is 3.5 hours.
Oh, no, this one was 2.5. So I think it was
Okay.
the original. So
All
it's
right.
horrible. So I mean, it's very slow. For example, they're in a ship and you look out he looks out the window. Yeah, great. Okay, we see all the sand and we see the stuff now. Okay, so now we get a cut back to seeing the ship. Okay, the ship's flying around. Okay, that's great. Okay. Oh, let's look out the window again. Okay, we're looking at them. No, let's look at the face of the person that's looking out the window to get
Yes.
their emotional. Oh no, let's look at the ship again. So it does that a bunch of time. Then it's finally getting to the place where it's supposed to dock, and let's watch the door open.
Yes.
We're watching the door open. Oh wait, let's look out the window again. I wanna look out the window again, and there's a face, and okay, so they do that, but it does that at other times too. Like they're walking in the desert, and so you look
Yes.
at the person walk along, and then let's look at the sand. There's a picture of the sand, and there's the other person walking, and there's the sand, and let's watch them walk. And it's just, and I mean for me. So it's so slow
Yes.
so you've got plot elements, right? And so a
Yep.
plot thing happens,
Yep.
which it's great, and then it's so long before the next plot thing happens that I
Yes.
forgot what happened before, so I don't even remember what's happening in the story. And
exactly. Yes.
we watched. So the question is like, oh well, Taebyn, why did you watch all 2.5 hours of this thing if you hated it so much? Well,
You thought it
I'm
would
so
get
glad
better.
you asked. Yeah, I want to tell you why. Because it also like you'd be like, okay, I'm gonna stop watching this now because my life is already over. I don't have. But then it's like, oh well, that's interesting. Now maybe something will happen that I can pay attention to. And then it doesn't. And then that happens again. So it strings you along. Anyway,
Yep.
we weren't impressed. Although, I mean, everyone else in the universe likes it, so I know it must just be us. But that's my media for the week.
Well, to give you a little history on the Dune series. So, if you read the books,
Which I didn't. So maybe that would have helped.
the books. If you have the history of the books before you watch the movie, it's a lot better. I'll give you that first off. Secondly, that was the second movie of Dune. That it's got the guy from I know who you're talking about who played Muad'Dib, Paul Atreides. See, I know the characters.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So he is the Kwisatz Haderach. Yes, there we go. There's a quote for you. You're muted. So
I cannot repeat that.
yes, the Kwisatz Haderach. But he says, yes, it's the Gum Jabbar. What's in the box? Fear is in the box. It's like, anyway. But
And the cat and the slip of paper.
yes, and the cat, the slip of paper. But so the new remake of Dune is really good. So they just released it I want to say about a year ago now. But the thing is, they remade it, and because there was so much hype about the new remake.
Which is the one I watched.
The new remake?
The one from 2021?
Okay, so you watched the new remake because they hadn't even done the. Yeah. You watched 2.5 hours. They only got through like 1/4 of the book on the remake.
I
So
heard about that. I heard
yeah,
about that.
so go back and watch the other movie. So I thought you were talking about the one that was before that. So yes, this one was very, very slow. They tried to go in depth with it. The new remake. I know which one you're talking about now. So yes, and it was very disappointing because they got to a point where Paul and his mother escape, and then they ended the movie.
Right.
And it's like, well, there's so much more. What happened? Why didn't they finish it? And the reason they didn't finish it was because they weren't sure the people were going to like it. And they didn't even
Oh.
commit to making the second half of the
Oh, I
story
see.
until after this was released. And they had committed to doing it. So they will probably they will have a second half, which you obviously will not watch because you didn't like the first half.
It's true. It's
So
true.
then I'm guessing that they will then put them together and make it into a epic movie that will be like
And
6
sell.
hours long,
Yeah.
and go from there. So I thought you were talking about the other. Go back and watch the one from the 80s.
Well,
You might like
so
that
we
one.
did.
Oh.
I tried that actually,
Okay.
and I couldn't do that either because I couldn't understand what anyone was saying. So
Okay. And then there is a sci-fi series that was like 8 episodes. It was a mini series.
tried
That was
watching
Dune
that
as
too.
well. Yeah.
Didn't,
Still couldn't
no,
do it. Huh? No,
I
okay,
don't
well,
think I'm cut out
Well,
for this Dune thing.
you're not cut out for Dune. Clearly, it's kind of like the Ender's Game series. The
You either
Ender's
like it or
Game
you
movie.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know if you've watched the Ender's Game, the movie, but if you have a chance, watch that. But the books are so much better, and there are like 8 books in that series, the Ender series,
Oh.
and they made one movie, and then they were done because it did not do well at all. So they just scrapped the whole franchise.
So Dune was afraid that was going to happen to them.
That was going to happen. Yeah. So anyway. Oh, okay. Well, there you go. Anything else? Reading anything? Did you read any more chapters of Heretic or whatever you're reading? Northbound or whatever it is. What is it?
Kindred.
Kindred North.
But
yes.
this Kindred. No, I think I talked a few weeks ago about how I read a
Yes.
few more chapters, and I'm
Yes.
almost done. I'm just kind of slowly getting through it. It's still great and good and stuff. I just have to find time to do it. But
I still have to read the rest of Heretic, and I'm waiting for Kindred North to be released electronically so I can read it because
it's not really.
it's not yet. No,
But even
it's very
South
strange.
is out, but they haven't done electronically.
No, it's
Interesting.
So I might break down and just order the book itself.
Oh
but-
my cow!
I know. I'm such a millennial, even though I'm a boomer. But I like my books electronically. Anyway, well, in that case, I suppose we should get to furries in the news.
What? In the bark.
Bark. Okay. Wow.
Whatever.
Wow.
happened.
We're taking up a lot of time. So the only furries in the news I found was titled "When My Motorcycle Project Looked Grim, the Furry Community Saved Me."
Oh yay!
Yes. So sometimes the subtitle is "Sometimes an extremely niche problem requires a solution from a completely unrelated enthusiastic group."
Nice.
So this guy is Steve De Silva, and he says, "Last week I discovered I needed a dead cat." Well, hang on, not like that. I need a dead cat, a colloquial term for a microphone screen that uses long fur fibers to block out wind and news. It's just no. So, while riding my new BMW motorcycle back from New Jersey last week, I discovered that the sound of the wind hitting my helmet-mounted GoPro is absolutely unbearable at speed. You didn't hear it in the video from the trip, thanks to our extraordinary video editing team, but it needs to be rectified all the same. Dead cats are easy enough to come by. You can get them from everything from shotgun mics to lavaliers. But the GoPro presents a unique difficulty problem because the microphone is just a little square hole in the front of a square box, which is a GoPro. So you can't just put a dead cat on there, right?
Yeah, right.
So he looked for a small patch of fur to stick on the front of that, but couldn't get anything because the only place he could find a small patch of fur was from Australia, and shipping was terrible.
Oh my! That's horrible.
And he didn't want to pay $9 whole Australian dollars for a small patch of fur and $35 for shipping for a 1 inch by 1 inch square of fur.
It's got to be a better solution. I wonder where he found the solution.
Well, he went to Michaels and Joanne Fabrics, where they sell faux fur by the yard, which is far larger than he needed. He needed a 1 inch by 1 inch square, right?
Yeah.
So he found, oddly enough, a place called fursuitsupplies.com.
I know that site
right,
well.
Right. And they sell fursuit componentry. And so he got a 3 inch by 3 inch fabric swatch that he could put over the end of it. And he says, it was just amazing. It was great. He says, no matter what kind of niche problem you're working on, it's unlikely that you're the first person in the world to ever encounter a particular challenge. It's always possible to find a new, potentially better solution. The project may have led you to the bottom of the rabbit hole of your own enthusiastic community. However, the answer you've been searching for may lie in an entirely different enthusiastic group just outside your peripheral vision. Thinking about things obliquely, trying to find an alternative route to a solution can often lead you to an effective answer you might never consider. So the next time you come across a problem with a project, take a minute to think about how a different enthusiastic group might be able to help you out. And then ask the furries. You never know. They just might have your solution.
In fact, just go ahead and ask us first.
Ask us first because, the furry community is so diverse. So many people with so many talents.
So creative, diverse. So I'm just saying what you said. Talent. I mean, it's
right.
True. It's all over.
It's terrible. It's amazing. It's amazing. And that's the only thing I have for furries in the news. Have you got any newsworthy furry things?
I do not.
All right, then let's hear from Chitaro, who's
what is Chitaro going to tell us about this week?
He's going to tell us about Bambi.
The movie, I assume.
Yes, the movie Bambi.
Is this a new one or the old one?
This is the original. The original.
Wow, I can't wait to hear what Chitaro says about this one.
Okay, well, joining us now is Chitaro with his movie review. Chitaro, what are you reviewing for us tonight, or today, or this afternoon, or whatever day it is that you're listening to this podcast?
Well, whatever day it is, to this moment, I am going to review Bambi. It's on Disney Plus, and it was from 1942 version, the original one.
Wow.
Yeah, it had been a while since I saw it, so I figured I should review it because, it's a pretty good movie. It's a little intense towards the end, but, it starts in a forest showing creatures living there, and the animals are gathering to see the new prince, which is the deer Bambi, and they all are kind of really enjoy watching this little tiny deer try to stand up and fall on his butt occasionally. But he's not very sure-footed. So there's this one rabbit, of course, the rabbit is named Thumper. It tries to help him to become more stable. He finally gets on his legs and Thumper takes him around to the various places and sees various things. And of course, my favorite thing of all is when he goes around and he says things like, flower? And he's like, that's not a flower, that's a skunk. So that was like a really fun line. Then what happens is it starts to rain, which makes all the animals run, and it starts thundering and lightning, and Bambi's mother says, okay, well, we need to go, and then of course that lets out, and Bambi's mother takes him to the meadow and Bambi wants to run out into the meadow, but unfortunately Bambi's mother says, be careful, you don't want to rush out on the meadow because it could be dangerous. Well, of course, what dangerous means is there could be hunters, of course. But on the meadow, he meets this girl deer, Faline, and he gets to play around with her and stuff like that. And of course, he also gets to meet his father. Then all of a sudden, there's a stir in the trees of the meadows. And of course, what does it happen to be? Hunters.
No.
And then, of course, then they run back home and they're safe and sound. And then, of course, it becomes winter. Snow is on the ground. Bambi has fun playing in it. And Thumper actually gets him to go on the ice and try to be sure-footed on ice. And rabbits might be able to do ice pretty good, but deer with those two little hooves, I don't think it works very well. While Bambi and his mother were eating grass in the spring, because of course in this movie the seasons go by fairly quickly. So it's the spring, and his mother and him are eating grass, and then all of a sudden hunters come. I won't spoil this part, but it's only obvious what happens if you've ever heard of Bambi before. But towards the end of the movie, it was rather interesting because when I was a kid, I heard the word Twitter-pated, and I never quite understood what it meant. I thought it meant something like, excited or thrilled or whatever. But according to the Bambi, there's an owl that says, "Be careful, you might become Twitter-pated." And what that really means is it means that you're going to end up meeting a lady animal and, well, let's just say go frolicking together. So Bambi and Thumper, the rabbit, and Flower, the skunk, they all end up finding someone that they can live their life with. And of course, the end of the movie happens when Bambi, of course, gives birth. Well, not Bambi, but Faline, because he and her get together, and they end up having a baby. So it kind of all starts over again. But the movie is over at that point. But it's a pretty good movie, and there's a couple of funny things that happen. Of course, calling the skunk Flower, but for the most part, it's pretty good. I would say that I would give it about 4 chirps because it is good, but there are some things that could be better in my opinion. But it was 1942. And they were just testing things out, back then. So, but it was pretty good.
I mean, 80 years old. So that was 80 years ago. So, that was a long time ago.
Yeah. Movies have gotten better since. And, I'm torn between a couple of movies to review next time. It might either be another cartoon movie, but I'm also thinking about a furry horror movie.
Ooh, that should be exciting.
Yeah. I think that one would probably be the best, but a furry horror movie. Who
awesome.
would know?
Who would know, right? Right.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so 4 chirps for Bambi from 1942 from our movie reviewer, Chitaro. Thanks for coming on the show, and we look forward to your next review.
Sounds awesome. See you later.
Well, a review of a 40 or 40, 80, no, 40, it's 1942, so 60 years, I don't know, something like that. Long time movie, 80, 60, 40 years, I don't know. So let's say 1943 and it's 2023, so that's 60 years or 20, so 80 years old. Wow, that's an 80-year-old movie.
They had movies back then?
Yeah. As a matter of fact.
I didn't even know they had movies 10 years ago. Maybe I knew they had movies 10 years ago. But...
Well, yeah, I mean, there you go. So, upcoming events. Upcoming events. So, of course, our weekly plug for the new convention / meetup in Seaside, Oregon. Get Out the Float, October 27th through the 30th at the Seaside Convention Center. So, it's going well. People are registering. They have a good selection of folks coming there. So, furs coming there. So, come on over, hang out with us in Seaside, and have a great old time. I have lots of things I want to do with the furs over there, and I'm going to have to put out flyers as to what we're doing, when we're doing it, and all sorts of stuff. So it'll be kind of fun to see how many people can,
Yep, so all you furs, come join us. We'll be there, obviously.
I want to take as many furs as I can over to the Fascination, and I want to actually video furs in fursuit playing this game. It's just so surreal because they have pictures of this place from the 1930s. Little old ladies playing this game.
Oh, wow.
And I really want to take a picture of that picture and then recreate it with furs.
And it'll be really great with your Fruit Loops because it's surreal.
Surreal, that's right. Okay. All right, coming up this weekend in Budapest, Hungary at the Kasakanai.
Speaking of Fruit Loops, we're hungry.
Speaking of Fruit Loops, we have the Fur Dance Budapest 2022, September 16th through 18th, which is the weekend that this episode comes out. So if you are in Budapest at the so can I.
And you know what else? You know what else so can I do?
What can you do?
When I'm really unhappy with someone that's bothering me, I Budapest.
You Budapest, I boot him right out. Okay. At the Sokanai Culturalis Koisenpont in Budapest, Hungary.
It works for me.
There you go. Whatever. Furry Takeover 2022 this same weekend at the Fontana Village Resort and Marina in Fontana Fontana, North Carolina. And then if you are in the Philippines on September 24th, it's a one-day event. The Philly Fur, not to be confused with the Philadelphia Fur.
Or the Silly Fur.
Or the Silly Fur. Or Silly String. In the elements at Centrist at the Quezon City, Philippines. Silly String, Silly Fest, yes. And then September 29th through October 1st at the Kurhaus Binz in Binz, Germany is Rügen Furcon. Rügen Furcon. And we shouldn't make fun of these places, but it's in Binz.
I'm trying to pronounce the Rügens.
The Rügens. So since it's in Kurhaus Binz, it's not a Taebyn's, but the Kurhaus Binz.
That's true.
There we go.
Although in a way it is, because it's the Kurhaus Binz.
You're not a cur. You're a nice fella. You're a nice fur.
Oh wait, is that I thought it was just an old term Isn't it though?
A cur is usually a bedraggled dog. An old bedraggled dog is a cur. You're not a cur.
That just occurred to me.
It did just occur. Wow. All right. Let's get to this or that, shall
we?
On,
please. Oh, please.
Okay. So we have a book called 3001. We have a book. Sorry, folks. This is it. This is what you get.
This is why we did math in the beginning and not now.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, an hour in, we're like, woohoo. Okay, so 3001 this or that question. Somebody wrote a book of 3001. We are on number 128.
Nothing else to do for a long time.
Yes. Okay, would you rather...
Oh, wait, what number are we on?
We're on 128.
Oh, only, okay, 128. Nice, very
128
nice.
of 3001. So, here we go.
So just whip on by.
Right. Would you rather learn to fight with swords or lances?
I don't know, but I guess I'll use lances if he wants me to.
Okay, lances, swords. Would you lance a lot? Oh, yes, indeed.
There's got to be something with. I mean, I want to say no, I would Camelot, but that doesn't really work. I would. Left a lot.
Left a lot.
Let's move on.
Would you rather ride a skateboard or a scooter?
Scooter? I didn't even know her. I don't know. That was stupid. Okay, skateboard or scooter?
We can't help it, folks. We can't help it.
No, we actually cannot. How about scooter? Because that sounds safer than a skateboard.
Skateboard. At least you have something to hold on to at the top, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Would you rather bike everywhere or only be able to take a bus everywhere?
When you think about it, that's a really crazy, silly question.
It is.
But we've come across this one in this book. Bike everywhere or only... I want a bikey everywhere.
Okay.
My hussies.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because you don't have to wait for buses to come.
You have to wait for... Exactly. You'd have to wait, and you don't get as much exercise standing there waiting for the bus as you do with biking.
Yeah. So, interesting story about buses up in the Seattle area. They tried an experiment
Oh, wow.
with, so different people could take different buses, but the buses went to certain places from the bus stops. So
Wait, what?
they were like, okay, so they had different colored buses, different colored lines, like the blue line, the yellow line, the
Okay.
green line, so on, so on, so on, so on, so on. And so people that rode the buses this failed miserably, but they tried to give the regular riders a little button that was a light of the color of the line they wanted to go on.
Okay.
So you didn't get on the wrong bus, or if the bus driver saw that only, like red lights were sitting at the bus stop and he was a blue bus, he'd know that nobody was going to get on that bus,
Good
so he
idea,
could
good
drive
idea.
past.
Okay.
Right. But the problem is that messed up their schedules because you didn't stop and wait for people, and then you got to the next bus stop too soon,
5
and then people
minutes
weren't
too
there.
soon and they
Yeah, so it didn't work. It did not work. It was a miserable failure.
Wow, I can
And
see that.
you
being
can still go
it's
to
a
the
really great
Seattle-
idea, but yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
being-
You can still go to the Seattle public transportation area, and they have boxes and boxes and boxes of these little light buttons.
Because but we can't do
They're
anything
just
with
like-
them now.
We can't do anything with them. They're dumb. Anyway, all right. So, now we talked about bikes. Would you rather not know how to ride a bike or not know how to swim?
I would rather not know how to swim because biking.
Do you swim at all? I've never seen you swim.
Yeah, it gets my fluff all like wet and it kind of weighs me down and it just doesn't work
Yeah.
well. So biking's my preferred method of transport.
All right. Well, there you go.
Do you know? Take this little break
Okay.
for the next one to say, where is this line from? Pens. It looks more like Ben's to me. Well, when Ben comes, you can give them to him.
No clue.
Faulty Towers, of course.
Oh, of course. Why would I not know that?
It's in the same. I think when Faulty Towers is trying to explain where the post office to on a map to someone, and it's just abbreviated for like pee off, and so he goes pee off, and he's like, what? No, anyway. Okay, let's move on.
Let's move on. All right. Would you rather?
Why did you let me do that?
Would you rather be a pirate or a ninja?
Oh well, actually, totally what I'm gonna say here.
Yes.
I mean, how does it go? Something about it would be a lot cheaper to be a pirate because that would be the pirate.
Yes.
I don't. So we'll just go with pirate. Actually,
All
no,
right.
I like ninja better. Actually, after all that, it's better to be ninja because that's a ninja. No, that didn't work. Okay, that was.
Well, but you'd have to be arrogant and
bunny.
and what's the other one? Arrogant and
Yeah, I know what
Yes.
you're talking about. I don't.
Yes, that
one.
worked.
That one.
Go back last week and listen to that. So, side story. So I was in Seaside, and for some reason, there was a bunch of people walking down the street dressed as pirates.
Just for whatever. It wasn't Pirate Weekend. It was just.
It wasn't.
Doing
It was just. This was just recently, and walking down, and I looked at them, and I said, "How much are they?" And the one guy looked at me and says, "How much are what?" I says, "What are your pirates?"
Oh, did they get it?
No, they just looked at me and walked away. I was like, "All right,
What?
well."
Oh,
I
come
know.
on!
I
don't
know,
like
right?
them. I
It's
can't
like-
believe that.
It's like, why were you dressed like that? Anyway, but would you rather be short or tall?
Would you rather? I don't know. Lay down or stand up? Tall, I guess.
All right, there you go. There you go. Now you said lay down or stand up. So when I was in the military, I was taught never stand when you can sit, never sit when you can lay down.
Because of preservation of energy.
Yes.
Physics.
Mm-hmm.
Physics.
Physics. Or physics or scissors.
Or
I don't know. Whatever.
nothing.
Yeah, whatever. We got nothing. We got nothing.
I got-
What we have What we have is the end of our show.
We have the
come
famous end of the show.
We have come. I can hear the music. Seems we've come to the end of our little show once again. Thanks to all our creatures for tuning in and listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Remember to get your BFFT merch at Redbubble or Bonfire. And you can help support the show through donations at Patreon or Ko-Fi, which will, of course, be said in the final credits, or by sharing our friends. Or sharing our friends. Don't share our friends. Share our show with your friends or relatives or other furries or your enemies or,
Or your pineapple kumquats.
Your pineapple kumquats, wallaby socks, and all that stuff.
And your stepladder. Don't leave your stepladder.
Don't leave your stepladder.
Because your real ladder will get mad.
Yep. That's right. So until next time, I say Moobarkfluff, stay furry. Taebyn, what words do you have for our listeners as we depart the airwaves and move along to something else?
Well, I have to say Moobarkfluff to all you furs. It's been so great. We hope you've had a really great time. We know we have. And all kinds of things. Great times, good learning, great stupidity. There was a lot of stupidity.
There was a lot of stupidity this episode, I have to say, yes.
I can't wait to listen to this again and hear all the stupidity. So thank you, all you furs, for getting a little more stupid by listening to this episode. That's great. But we also really appreciate that you did that for us. So,
yes, exactly.
We hope you have a wonderful, great week and are having a great time with, if you've got sunshine. If you don't have sunshine, we hope you're having a great time with the non-sunshine. And until next week, can't wait to bark at you. Moobarkfluff, stay furry.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerve studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The opinions expressed here are those of the hosts and their guests, and no commercial compensation was granted. The Furcast is produced, recorded and directed by Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by Barely and our associate editor Rain Raccoon. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by Reg Day with Damian Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Reg Day, you can search for Tweezerbeak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music by Shane Ivers through silvermansound.com, Gator Tots on soundcloud.com, and the YouTube Free is library. Social media presences is maintained by Ziggy the Mean Weasel. Transformation Station is written and directed by Lux Operon with Rain Raccoon and is edited by Rain Raccoon. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can help support the show through donations at ko-fi.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.